Universal Orlando has some of the best rides on the planet, but Universal Studios Orlando doesn't have a ton of them. Here's every ride at Universal Studios Orlando ranked from worst to best, with some honorable mentions at the end and where they fit on the list, because even though they're not rides, so I'm not going to count them, I think they're really good and deserve to be on this list too, and I'll let you know that at the end. And as always, feel free to comment your list. If you disagree with me, that's fine. I'll definitely take a look at your list. I'll be sure to judge it. But the important thing to remember in all of my lists is I'm right. Number 12, and nobody should have any arguments with this, is Fast and the Furious Supercharged. This is a screen-based dark ride attraction that opened in 2018 and could have closed in 2018. If you look on Google, it has a 2.0 out of 5. I think that's still way too high. This is one of the worst, if not the worst attraction I've ever been on in a theme park. Now, it might not be the worst of the worst in terms of the actual attraction, but when you think about the IP of Fast and the Furious ride, like I want you to think, if you haven't been on this ride, sit there and think at home, what could a Fast and the Furious ride be? Okay, whatever you thought of, it's the opposite of that. It's not good. You can tell that they took the Fast and the Furious IP and gave the creative team a very limited budget. Just kind of rinse repeat of some of the other rides that they've done in the past. It is so bad. Now, the good thing is, I think this will close in the next couple of years. I think the replacement for Rip Ride Rockit will be a Fast and the Furious roller coaster, and we'll build something else here. But right now, it's currently open sometimes. They limit the hours too. It doesn't open until 10 as opposed to the rest of the park, and it closes early sometimes. It's not open during hard nights. They're ready to get rid of it already. However, they probably have to wait until Rip Ride's replacement's up and going a little bit, or at least close to opening, and then they'll get rid of that. Either way, right now it's still at this park, and right now to me, it's easily the worst, all things considered. An easy skip every time. The best part of it is the pre-shows, because the team members really carry those. They're funny. Number 11 is Twirl and Hurl. This is in Simpsons land. If we watch my Magic Kingdom rankings, you know how I feel about Dumbo knockoffs that go in a circle and up and down. This is a carnival ride you can do anywhere. Now, I think the cool thing about this one, obviously the Simpsons theming there, but is the views you get on it right by the little body of water right there. It's nice views on a nice day, especially if Simpsons land, but it's nothing special. It's a kiddie ride that just, again, it's a Dumbo knockoff. You can do these at pretty much any carnival, or you can find them around anywhere. There's nothing special about it. That's pretty much all I have to say on this one. It's fine. You probably won't have to wait long if you have kids, but obviously if you only have a day at Universal, you can easily skip this one. Number 10, the Simpsons ride. This ride, I can handle most rides. I can even handle Mission Space. This one gives me a headache. This is an intense motion simulator ride where you're looking at a screen that is pretty dated. Now, if you're a Simpsons fan, there's a ton in here for you. Between the queue and the ride, there's inside jokes, there's Easter eggs, there's all that. I think if you're a Simpsons fan, you could really appreciate it. I just think it's very tough to get through. Like I said, of all the motion simulators, all the screen rides at Universal, to me, this is the hardest to stomach. I usually skip it, and if the Simpsons aren't your thing, I would too. I have to put it at number 10 just because it's so hard to get through. And number 9 is VillainCon Minion Blast. This opened in 2023, so it's one of their newest attractions, especially here at Universal Studios Park. But don't get too excited about that. This takes you into the world of Despicable Me with the VillainCon. You're getting criminals from all over that universe right there. It is a moving walkway shooting type attraction. So essentially you stand on a dot and you go around shooting in different rooms. For that reason, it can be fun. It also typically, especially later in the day, has a very short wait. So for that reason, it's not bad. However, the attraction itself is nothing special whatsoever. Of the shooters, especially in this park, this is probably the worst. There really is nothing to, you could tell, again, a limited budget for this one. They came in and did what they could to include. It's an inclusive ride, so pretty much everybody can do it. It's nothing too crazy. It's not intense at all, which I think kind of needed that Minion land type deal. And it's obviously it has screens, but nothing intense that should give you a headache. It's just nothing special. To me, it's number 9. 8 is the Troller Coaster. I guess this is the newest ride. It's their new roller coaster, opened in 2024. And yeah, really just a reskin and a repaint of the Woody Woodpecker's roller coaster that was there. But when it changed over into DreamWorks Land, this became the Trolls Roller Coaster. This is your typical kiddie roller coaster, your family-friendly roller coaster in the kids part of the park. That's exactly what it's meant to be. Those kid roller coasters are usually at the bottom of the list. We just did Magic Kingdom. We talked about the Barnstormer towards the back end. This is actually trending towards the middle, and that really just goes to show you how poor the ride quality currently is in this park. Like I said, if you have a small child, they'll probably enjoy it. It's a good first coaster for them, something they can remember like that. It's in that kiddie section of the park, so it won't be confused with a fun roller coaster. But Roller Coaster, again, it's not its fault. It does what it's meant to do, and because of that, it's in the back end of the middle of the list. Number 7 is Minion Mayhem. This is an animated simulator ride in Minion Land, and this is definitely the better ride in Minion Land. It opened in 2012, and honestly, you can sometimes feel that when you're on it, but I think it's a fun simulator ride, especially for kids and fans of Despicable Me. Typically garners a long wait over here in Minion Land. Universal was hoping with opening DreamWorks that they would, take away some of the crowds from this, but that really hasn't been the case. Again, it's another simulator ride that's gonna be a big trend of this list, especially in this park at Universal. They're kind of known for having a ton of simulator-like rides, but especially in this park, this will be a fun time for you if you love the Minions. But outside of that, again, if you only have one park day to try to go between islands and this, a lot of people do that, I would skip this one. Well, we're already in the top 6, and I can't believe I'm even putting this top 6, but I am, and it's Jimmy Fallon's Race Through New York. Now this is, stop me if you've heard this before, a 3D motion simulator. It's a screen ride where you are in New York and you are racing Jimmy Fallon. You start in the Tonight Show and then you go out into New York and even into space. It's like Fast and the Furious movies. They're just crazy. It makes no sense, but it can be fun. I think it's fine. Of the screen-based rides, again, it's right there in the middle. If you're a fan of the Tonight Show, there's a ton of inside jokes for that. The queue is actually pretty solid because it's more of like a waiting room. It gets you out of the sun for a little bit, and it's a solid in the middle screen ride attraction. And yes, that's in the top 6. That shows you, I'm telling you, this park, I'm excited for the future, and I hope they put efforts into this park because these 6, now remember, I'm gonna talk about at the end what I would do, some of the honorable mentions here that aren't rides that I think are better than even something like this at number 6 on this list. But Jimmy Fallon comes in there, it's solid. The queue does a lot of heavy lifting. It's number 6. 5 is E.T. Adventure. I think one of the most underrated rides at Universal Orlando Resort. This is a suspended dark ride. So if you've been on Peter Pan's Flight in Magic Kingdom, it's similar to that, but to me, better. Now it's a very, very unique ride, a unique ride vehicle, a unique ride system, a unique dark ride. And you guys know how much I love a dark ride. The queue is awesome. It's one of the most immersive queues. Smells great in there. The ride vehicle, like I said, is unique. It's awesome, like you're on the bike like E.T. And just the ride itself is a classic dark ride feel. It's one of the few Universal Orlando classic rides that they have left. Like I said, this opened in 1990, and parts of it you can see opened a while ago, but it makes me appreciate that more. Now, if you're not a huge fan of Universal Studios history, you didn't come here as a kid, or you don't care about the nostalgia factor of the classic dark rides, I could see why this might be down a little bit because it's not action-packed at all. But as a huge Universal fan and somebody who can appreciate classic ride history and classic rides at these parks, I think E.T. Adventure is one of the best anywhere when it comes to a classic dark ride, especially as a suspended dark ride. I think it's awesome, and it's my number 5. Number 4 is Transformers. Now, this is a 3D motion simulator. Yes, a 3D motion simulator. Now, it's not the last screen ride, but when it comes to whole motion simulator aspect of it, this is like the last one on the list. If you're a fan of Spider-Man at Islands of Adventure, to me, you have to be a fan of this. Maybe you don't like the IP as much, but it essentially is that Spider-Man ride at Islands of Adventure with a Transformer skin. And it is like Michael Bay threw up. It is action-packed, it's loud, it's a fun time. I think it's very well done. I like the Transformers movies, and it tells a fun Transformer story. This one can get a bit of a longer line. The queue is solid, but nothing unbelievable. But I think the ride as a motion simulator is one of Orlando's best, at least over in these parks for sure. Again, if motion simulators aren't your thing, clearly this park might not be your thing. But I like Transformers, I put it at my number 4. Now my number 3 is Men in Black Alien Attack. Now this is one that makes me nervous that I think might go at some point because the Men in Black IP just isn't that popular anymore. But I think this is one of the best shooter type games in any theme park. This is a shooter type thing, but it's a motion based as well. So there's a lot of spinning, there's a lot going on, but there's not screens. So the cool thing about this is you've been on Buzz Lightyear or Toy Story Mania, there's screens there or there's just like targets to go for. Not in this one. The targets there are actually aliens. And I think that is really cool because they're aliens of all different sizes, types, looks. There's a lot of love for the aliens there, and it does a great job at immersing you in this Men in Black world. And I love shooter games because I'm very competitive. It's very fun. I think this is one of the best. The queue is very solid. The whole thing, very immersive into the Men in Black world. It could use some TLC, I think, a little bit. Sometimes the guns have issues now. It's a bit dated. Sometimes the aliens aren't working. Overall, it's very fun, very immersive. And of the shooter rides in theme parks, I think this is one of the best. If it ever does change, I hope they would go towards a Ghostbusters thing and kind of make it into those aliens into ghosts. I think that would be really cool. But right now, I don't think it's closing anytime particularly soon, but I think, which is a Men in Black IP, its days are numbered at some way, somehow. It's one of the strongest shooters in any theme park, and I think it's a top 3 right here. When you combine immersion, queue, fun, wait time, all together, this is one of the best. 2 is Revenge of the Mummy. Now this is a dark ride roller coaster, one of my favorite forms of dark ride, and I think the Mummy is just awesome. Now, it opened in 2004. You can feel that at some points. Some of the effects just don't always work, and the ride itself has portions where it's rough and kind of stops on a dime. It's so much fun. I mean, the dark ride elements are really good. It's the perfect combination of coaster and dark ride, where you have slow moving coaster elements, and then you have an intense coaster, the way it shoots you up the hill and you kind of go around. They have the fake ending, which I think is just so unique and so awesome. That concept was originally made for a Shining ride, and they ultimately used it in the Mummy, and I just think it's awesome. It's, like I said, that perfect combo of coaster and dark ride. Again, another IP that's a little bit dated, that's not super popular now, but it works. I think it's great. Despite it being a little dated, I think that's part of its charm at this point. It's very, very solid. Number 1 to me, though, is Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts. I mean, when you talk about budget, this got a ton of it. The queue is unbelievable. It's one of the best queues on property to wait in. If you're a Harry Potter fan, you are literally transported into the world from the time you walk into Diagon Alley, but then when you walk into Gringotts Bank, it's just awesome. Like I said, the only problem I have with the queue is you take the elevator down and then you have to walk stairs to get back up. Not the best planning, but it's not that big of a deal. I'm just complaining. The ride itself is a 3D thrill ride, simulator, screen ride. It's everything. Coaster, even though the coaster is probably the weakest part. I don't want you to think it's a coaster and that's gonna be intense like that. Outside of the initial drop, which isn't even that big, it's a lot of fun. The coaster is more of a means to get you around the track layout than anything else. It's just a little different than like the ones like Transformers. This is more, takes the coaster feel, and I think it works very well. But the immersion's great, the story is very good, the screens are very solid here, it tells an unbelievable story. Again, you can just feel the budget that went into this, and as a Harry Potter fan, even non-Harry Potter fans can really enjoy this attraction. To me, it is the clear-cut number 1 here. In multiple other theme parks, maybe every other theme park, it wouldn't be number 1. Universal Studios Park is kind of operating right now with how many motion simulators and everything going on. This, to me, is the clear-cut number 1 in this park right now. Now, Fast and the Furious, if that is what's coming to replace Red Ride Rocket, I think will have the easiest path to becoming number 1 very quickly, as a huge coaster nut myself. So I did say I wanted to talk about some honorable mentions here that weren't rides, and I want to talk about 2, which is the Horror Makeup Show and the Bourne Stuntacular. First of all, the Horror Makeup Show, I think people skip this a lot. It's in a building over there in the LA section that I don't even know. Both of these are actually over there. I don't think people know they can go in there because it is closed sometimes and stuff too. The Horror Makeup Show, and people think it might be a makeup show. It's more of a comedy show. There's really not a ton of makeup going on. They break down kind of like the monster makeup and like special effects in these monster movies, but I wouldn't go in thinking you're gonna see a makeup show. It's just not what it is. It's more of a comedy show. I think it's absolutely awesome. I love it. I see it every time I'm in Universal Studios. It's not a super long show, but it gets you out of the sun for a little bit. The cast constantly is changing, but they're very good, very talented, very funny. It's just an attractions list, not a ride list. To me, this would easily be in the top 6 above Jimmy Fallon. I think this is awesome and one of the best things you can do here. I highly recommend it. And it's second in the shows to the Bourne Stuntacular. The Bourne Stuntacular, I'm not gonna even show footage here of that, showing you footage of it, which just be like without audio, just kind of weird. Bourne Stuntacular, the best stunt show I've seen. I think it trashes Indiana Jones at Hollywood Studios. The cast is so talented here. The way they use this stage, and I'm gonna leave it at that, I think is awesome and some of the best that you can see in any ride or show. It's awesome, and the cast is very talented. This is probably in my top 3 at this park. I'd probably put it above Men in Black on things I absolutely love to do, and if I made an attractions list, I'd probably put it right there. Might be highly praised. This will take a big chunk out of your day. So between the pre-show, the loading into the show, and the show itself might take almost an hour, 45 minutes to maybe an hour of your time. The air conditioning in there, some of the best in any of the parks. I think this show is unbelievable. It's gotta deserve an honorable mention because I think both of those do, because I think both of them would be top 6 if we just made an attractions list. I definitely would try to see them. If I had to pick one, I'd pick Bourne, but if you can, and if you have 2 days, definitely see both these shows. They're polar opposites, one completely funny, one's action-packed, and they're both awesome right next to each other. That's my list of Universal attractions rides ranked from worst to best with a few honorable mentions again. And let me know in the comments what your favorite attraction or ride is here. And let me know your list if you want to. But again, I'm right. See you on Thursday.